Going on holiday abroad is pretty exciting, but how about if you could go to your favorite country without paying anything at all and getting a university degree at the same time? Millions of students study abroad because of the same reason, and it's the reason why I will be studying in New York University in their Abu Dhabi campus. So why do students actually choose to study abroad? Reason number one, because they want to learn from leading experts in their field of choice. So for example, the US might be the best in medicine with Harvard, with Johns Hopkins University, but Australia might top US in terms of marine biology, right? That brings us to point number two, culture. What's different about the way people interact here? Maybe it's the community that brings you to this place, the strong sense of community. Whatever it is, you need to be happy with staying in this place for at least a few years. And reason number three, the environment itself. Maybe you like the beautiful architecture, the scolding hot weather, because I'm in Old Cairo, Egypt right now, or perhaps you're just tired of English food. Now that you're interested in studying abroad, I've got to let you in on a little secret. So I actually know nothing about applying to international universities apart from the US. Just like the culture is very different in Africa and Europe, the education and application system are completely different in two different countries, let alone two different continents. So this video will be split up into 7 fundamental chapters: general international applications, how to do research, US versus UK, US application portals, US application timelines, scholarships, and finally a conclusion. Also, a point to note is that I will use the term college instead of university because in the US, universities provide both graduate and undergraduate education, and college is the default term in the US when it refers to what we call university in the UK. And also guys, while I'm currently at the Great Pyramid of Giza, you also need to take into account these things for international applications. First, getting to know the language of the country. Second, flights. Third, medical insurance. Fourth, the shift in culture. Fifth, international fees. They're super expensive, man, super expensive. Keep that in mind. Also, just like this camel, you cannot do everything yourself, right? I tried to do it without a US university mentor, but I literally could not, okay? So make sure you get that guidance. Discipline matters, guidance matters, okay? So how do you get that guidance? You go... Okay? You network with other people, right? So I use LinkedIn, find people who, you know, are in the university that you want to be in, ask them every question that you can possible, and then, you know, you'll have that guidance, you'll have your answers to how to get to your destination, which will be the dream university of your choice, right? Ever since I made a YouTube video about how I went to New York University, Abu Dhabi, I had more than 20 people email me, message me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, literally wherever, asking me, you know, asking me for advice on how to get in, right? Because if I was able to get in, that means the advice that I give them will give them a greater chance of being able to get in themselves. Also, that looks very comfortable. I don't want to get flicked. Okay guys, while I'm in the bus, the difference between UK and US universities when choosing which universities to apply to, right, is that in the UK there are about 300 universities, while in the US there are 4,000 colleges. So the top 100 US colleges are like the top 10 universities in the UK, which means don't worry too much about rankings when making your decisions. UCAS in the UK. The US also has a few centralized application portals which can be used to apply to most colleges in the US. Apart from MIT, which for some reason have their own application portal. So the most common one conveniently is known as the Common Application. It's the one I use and it's the one you'll probably be using too. But this also means the application process is very, very long. So you need to maximize your time during the summer break and complete your personal statement at least, as well as the majority of your application during summer break before you even start the academic year, so you can actually focus on the most important things. So before I explain the US education timeline, I need to explain to you the differences between 3 different types of application: early decision, early action, and regular decision. So these are 3 different application options that you have, and they're available at different times of the academic year. Early decision is a legally binding agreement where you're essentially telling an institution, if you accept me, I legally have to attend you, even if a better university accepts me. Regular decision is also non-binding, and it's the latest application stage that you can make, whereby you can apply to as many universities as you want. Oh yeah, did you hear what I said? You can apply to as many colleges as you want. So unlike the UK, you're not limited to 5 choices, but each application can cost anywhere up to like $100. So unless you're swimming in money and free time, we would not recommend you to apply to more than 10 US colleges. The one factor of US applications that makes it such a pain is that every college that you apply to will probably ask you to write an essay for their application. And guess what? each essay that you write will likely have to be different. They have to be unique. So I applied to around 10 US colleges, which meant I had to write around 10,000 words, which to be honest is really a lot. You know, I thought UK university applications were difficult enough, but US applications are like 10 times harder. But the truth is, if there's one thing that you can't slack on, is these essays. You know, these essays offer the admissions officers a glimpse into who you are as a person, into your authentic self, so they can actually see if you're a good fit for the Regarding the actual application timeline, between October and November, you'll submit your early decision and early action applications. And then by January, you have to submit all of your regular decision applications, and then you'll get the result in December for your early applications, and then in March/April for your regular decision application. Many colleges in the US are literally rich, which means they give so much financial aid to both domestic and international students. There are about 60 colleges in the US that provide full-ride scholarships. This means they provide full flights back to your home country, food, tuition, living expenses, and they even give you spending money to spend on literally whatever you want to use it on. So what do I mean when I say financial aid? Financial aid is money that is given to you that you don't have to give back, and all you need to do is to demonstrate that you have financial need, right? So remember that how I said the application process is very long? Well, you have to fill something out called the CSS profile if you want to request financial aid, which is hundreds of questions long, and it literally took me 3 weeks to complete because you need to evidence literally everything with financial aid documents. On the other hand, there are also scholarships that can be applied for, and these will require at minimum an essay and then usually a video interview, and then after that there are like further rounds of interviews. So just think about it this way, right? If you're asking a university or institution for hundreds of thousands of dollars that you don't have to give back, then you're gonna have to earn it. Applying internationally, and specifically in the US, is very difficult. But if you plan accordingly and don't waste any time, then you will have a very high chance of getting in. Remember that for US colleges, good grades are just the baseline. They care about who you actually are as a person. So are you the type of person who takes advantage of all the opportunities that are provided? Are you the type of person who will jump outside of their comfort zone, you know, transcend your current knowledge instead of staying satisfied with your current status? I started planning my US application and networking with other people since the start of year 10. And other international applicants will have been doing that for years before me. So the competition is higher than you could ever imagine. But also, the rewards are more than you could have ever experienced. I had to skip out on a lot of information in this video, because if you haven't realized already, US applications are like taking an extra A level. So my final advice for you guys would be, don't let anyone define your boundaries. Always aim high, and I'll see you in the next video. That's Avan, which means I need to go as soon as possible. Reach out to me as any way you can, and I'll see you later. Assalamu alaikum.